Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Hanif Fattah, and here I will review I will review the 10 research articles related to English as a foreign language or EFL. Although each article discusses a different topic, they all share one common goal: improving quality of English language teaching and learning. Instead of discussing each article separately, I will also explain how they are connected with one another. So let's begin with the first article. So, in first article is Communicative Language Teaching (CLT). The first article is titled Communicative Language Teaching in EFL Classroom, a systematic review by Chen and Shuhib. So, this article reviews previous studies about communicative language teaching. The author found that CLT is highly effective because it encourages students to communicate actively through pair work. Pair work is group discussion and real-life communication tasks. Students become more confident, more engaged, and improve especially in speaking and listening skills. One important benefit of this article uh, is that it give teacher evidence that language learning should focus on communication instead of memorization. Students learn better when they actively use English rather than simply studying grammar rules. In my opinion, one of the strengths of this article is systematic review method. Since it analyzed many previous studies, the conclusion the conclusions are more reliable and comprehensive. However, the weakness is that the article provides only limited practical solutions for teachers who face challenges such as large classroom, limited teaching resources, or exam-oriented education. Overall, this article reminds us that an an effective teaching method alone is not enough. Successful implementation also depends on the learning environment and the teacher readiness. Now that we understand the importance of communicative teaching, an interesting questions appear. What prevents students from communicating confidently? The answer is discussed in the second article. So, article second, language and CCT. Language and CCT. The second article is language and CCT in EFL and ESL academic environment by Chong and colleagues. This article focuses on language and CCT, which is one of the biggest challenge faced by English learners. The research found that many students are afraid of making mistakes, being judged by others, or not having enough vocabulary. Because of these fears, they often avoid speaking, participate less in class, and gradually lose confidence. The benefit of this article is that it helps to teacher understand that poor classroom participation is not always caused because laziness. Sometimes students simply feel anxious or insecure. One of its strengths is the mixed method research design, combining questionnaires with interviews. This allows the research to understand not only the statistical data but also student real experiences. However, the weakness is that the research focus only on certain educational setting. So the finding may not fully represent all EFL learners. Personally, I think this article is very meaningful because emotional factors are often ignored in language classroom. In reality, reducing students' anxiety can be just as important as teaching grammar or vocabulary. So, second article explains language anxiety in general. The third article goes even deeper by focusing specifically on anxiety during public speaking. So, we go to speaking anxiety. The third article is Indonesian EFL student anxiety in speech production by Anandai. Unlike the previous articles, research specifically investigates why students become nervous when speaking English in front of others. The study found several major causes, including fear of making mistakes, low self-confidence, and discomfort when speaking publicly. Interestingly, the research suggests that reflective learning can help reduce this anxiety. By reflecting on their own strengths and weakness, students become more aware of their progress and gradually gain confidence. The benefit of this article is that it offers a practical strategy that teachers can immediately apply in speaking classes. Its main strength is that it is based on real classroom experiences, making the finding highly relevant for future teachers. However, the limitation it is relatively small sample size, so the result cannot easily be generalized to all students. For me, this article teaches us important lesson because a good speaker is not only about mastering English but also managing emotions and building confidence. So, from the first three articles, we can already identify a clear connection. The first article explains how English should be taught through communication. The second article explains why many students still hesitate to communicate because of anxiety. And the third article offers one practical resolution to reduce that anxiety through repeating learning. So, in the next part, we will continue with Article 4, 5, and 6, which discuss collaborative learning, teachers' emotional regulation, and teacher support. These two articles shift the focus from students to the important roles of teacher in creating a positive learning environment. So, for the four collaborative learning article collaborative learning, the fourth article is examining the effect of collaborative learning intervention on EFL student English learning and social interaction by Alzubi and colleagues. The study investigates how collaborative learning affects student English achievement and social interaction. The research found that students who learn through group discussion, pair work, and cooperative activities achieve better learning outcomes than those who learn through traditional teacher-centered instruction. Besides improving English proficiency, collaborative learning also increases student confidence, communication skills, and willingness to participate in English classes. So the benefit of this article is that it provides strong evidence that learning together is often more effective than learning individually. Students not only improve academically but also develop teamwork and communication skills, which are essential in today's world. One of strength this article it is quasi-experimental design because it compares an experimental group with a control group. The findings are supported by clear empirical evidence. However, the weakness is that collaborative learning is not always successful. Sometimes a few students dominate the discussion while others become passive. Therefore, teachers still play an important role in managing group activities fairly. Overall, this article reinforces the idea that communication is learned best through interaction rather than passive listening. If collaborative learning focuses on student interaction, the next article shift our attention to something equally important, the emotions of the teacher. So, next article is teachers positive emotionally. The first article is EFL teacher perception of positive emotionally and emotional regulation strategies by Zhang and Wang. This article explores how teachers manage their emotion while teaching English. The research discovered that teachers experience many emotions, including stress, frustration, excitement, and satisfaction. However, teachers who can regulate their emotion effectively tend to create more positive classroom where students feel comfortable participating. The benefit of this article is that it reminds us that teaching is not only about delivering knowledge. Teacher emotional well-being also influences student motivation, confidence, and classroom atmosphere. Its greatest strength is qualitative approach. Through interviews and reflective narrative, the research gain rich and detailed insight into teacher real experiences. On the other hand, the weakness is its relatively small sample size, making it difficult to generalize the finding to every educational context. Personally, I believe this article is very valuable because future teachers often focus on lesson plans but forget to take care of their own emotional health. A calm and positive teacher can greatly influence student learning experiences. Managing emotion is important, but students also need to feel that their teacher genuinely care about them. This idea is explored further in sixth article. So, the sixth article is teacher support. The sixth article is unraveling student perceived FL teacher support by Liu and Lee. This study examines how students perceive teacher support and how that support influences motivation, engagement, and academic achievement. The finding show that students who receive clear explanation, constructive feedback, encouragement, and emotional support are more motivated to learn English. They participate more actively in class and develop a more positive attitude toward learning. The benefit of this article is that it emphasizes the importance of balancing academic support with emotional support. Students do not only need teachers who explain listen well, they also need teachers who listen, correct, and understand student difficulties. One of the strengths of this article it is comprehensive statistical analysis involving a large number of students, making the finding highly convincing. So, in my opinion, delivers a simple but powerful message. Students learning better when they know their teacher believe in them. When connect these three articles, we can see a logical sequence. So finally, the sixth article demonstrates that teacher support strengthens student motivation and engagement. So, for the seventh article is AFL reading instruction. The seventh article is scientific mapping of research on English as a foreign language reading instruction, a 30-year perspective by Chen and Abdul. Unlike the previous article, the study does not focus on classroom experiment. Instead, it analyzes research trend in EFL reading instruction over past 30 years. Research found that EFL reading research has involved significantly topics such as reading comprehension, metacognitive strategies, digital literacy, and technology says learning have become increasingly important. The benefit of this article is that it provides teacher and research with a clear picture of how reading instruction has developed of, over time and where future research should be derived. So the greatest strength is the comprehensive bibliometric analysis which summarize the 3 decades of research into one meaningful views. The weakness is that it mainly analyzes publication data rather than examining what actually happened inside classroom. So, besides effective teaching method, another important question is what makes students actually enjoy learning English. So, the egg article, learning contribution, and student satisfaction. So the egg article is student perception of learning condition and satisfaction in AFL by PA. This research investigates how classroom conditions influence student satisfaction in learning English. This finding revealed that supportive teacher, interactive classroom activities, constructive feedback, and positive emotional environment significantly increase student motivation and satisfaction. So, the benefit of this article is that it helps teacher understand that learning outcomes become depend not only on curriculum but also on the classroom atmosphere. One of its strength is that it combines physiological and pedagogical perspective, giving a more complete understanding of student learning experiences. However, the weakness is that most of the data come from student perception, making some findings subjective. So, overall, this article reinforces the importance of creating classroom where students feel motivated, respected, and comfortable. Although a position classroom environment is important, many students still struggle with one common challenge: speaking and so this issue discussed again in 9 article. Speaking accessibility from student and teacher perspective. The 9th article is the FL student and teacher attitude toward foreign language speaking accessibility by Han and Cole. The study explores speaking accessibility from both student and teacher perspective. The research found that fear of making mistakes, limited vocabulary and low confidence, and fear of negative evaluation are the main reasons why students hesitate to speak English. Interestingly, teachers are aware of this problem and try to reduce student anxiety by creating supportive classroom environments. The benefit of this article is that it presents a balanced perspective by considering both student experience and teacher viewpoints. The strength lies in the use of mixed method, combining quantitative and qualitative data to produce richer finding. However, the limitation is that the research was conducted in a specific educational context, so the result may not represent all AFL classroom. For me, this article shows that overcoming speaking anxiety requires cooperation between teachers and students. Finally, the last article discusses a challenge that comes from outside the classroom, not from student or teacher, but from the education system itself. Examination-oriented education. The 10th article is the impact of university interest exam on AFL education in Turkey by Hanif. This article examines how university entrance examination influence English language teaching. The findings show that because teacher and student focus heavily on exam preparation, classroom activities become dominated by grammar exercise, memorization, and test strategies. As a result, speaking and listening skill receive much less attention. The benefit of this article is that it encourages educator and policymaker to reconsider whether examination system truly measure student communicative competence. One of its strengths is that it clearly explains the relationship between educational policy and classroom practice. However, the weakness is that the research focuses only on Turkey, so the finding may not apply equally to every country. Nevertheless, I believe many countries, including Indonesia, face similar challenge. Teachers often want to teach communicative English, but examination teach system sometimes push them toward more traditional teaching methods. Uh, in the final, so uh, effective English language learning is not determined by only one factor. Instead, it is a result of the interaction between teaching method, student emotion, teacher support, classroom environment, and even educational policies. So, uh, after reading this 10 article, I realized that becoming an effective English teacher is much more than teaching grammar or vocabulary. A good teacher should also understand student emotion, encourage active participation, create a positive learning environment, and continuously adapt to new educational development. As a future teacher, this article have given me a broader understanding of what successfully language teaching really means. I believe that when students feel support, respected, and confident, they will be more willing to communicate, and that is the ultimate goal of learning a language. So I hope this presentation has clearly explained the benefits, strength, weakness, and connection among the article. Thank you very much for attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.